Hello everyone and welcome back to Math Merit. Today we are going to continue with concept number 4, which is still on factoring, but a different part of it, okay? Now, this is factoring trinomials that are in the ax squared plus bx plus cx form, okay? Not like we saw last time, where we saw x squared plus bx plus c. Okay? This time we are dealing with this form. Now, we know that sometimes the trinomial can be the product of two binomials. How would we figure out the product of two binomials with a trinomial that looks like this? We're going to take a different perspective, okay? So we have 6x squared plus 23x plus 7, okay? Now, what we're going to be doing is, instead of using 23x, we're going to rewrite it as 2x plus 21x, okay? So it's going to look a little different. It'll look like this. 6x squared plus 2x plus 21x plus 7. Okay? Now that we have broken down the trinomial, we're going to group these numbers and these numbers. And we're going to factor out the greatest common factor. I know that the greatest common factor in this equation is 2. Why? Because 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. So if I factor out 2, I'm not only factoring out the 2, I'm also factoring out the x. Why? Because they both have x's, meaning that it's something else that I can factor out. I'm going to be factoring out 2x, okay? Now, by factoring out the 2x, I know if I multiply by 3x, I'll get 6x squared. And if I multiply by 1, I'll get 2x. So that is this equation factored out. Let's do the same thing with this one. Off the top of my head, I know that 7 goes into 21 3 times. Therefore, I know that my greatest common factor is going to be 7. And it is only going to be 7 because in this case, 7 does not have an x, but 21x does. So what I would do in that case is, I know if I multiply 3 times 7 gives me 21. So I'm going to have to multiply 7 times 3x to be able to get 21x. And to get 7, I will multiply by 1. You see what we have now? These two are actually identical. So what we're going to be doing is, we're going to be grouping the greatest common factors, which is 2x and 7, and what we're left with after taking out the greatest common factors, which is 3x plus 1. And that would be the binomial that would give us this trinomial. Want to know how I know? Let's test it out. So, let's go ahead and erase this part. we can do a little math. We have 2x plus 7 and 3x plus 1. Okay? Now we're going to multiply this binomial. The way that I find easiest to multiply binomials is by using FOIL. So that is what I'm going to be using. So, to start off, multiplying 2x and 3x because those are my first numbers. That gives me 6x squared. Okay? Now I'm going to be multiplying my outer numbers, which are 2x and 1. So 2x, because when you multiply anything by 1, it is whatever number you're multiplying by. Now I'm going to multiply my inner numbers, which are 7 and 3x, which when you're multiplying 7 times 3 equals 21x. Then I'm multiplying my last two numbers, which are 7 and 1. That equals 7. Now, I'm going to be combining like terms, which in this case is my 2x and my 21x. So I have 6x squared plus 23x plus 7. Now, does this number and this number match? Yes, they do. That's how you check your answer. Now, let's go on into an example for your assignment today. Let's go over this example together, okay? Now, we have 5x squared plus 11x plus 2, okay? It's similar to the last example that we just did. I forgot to explain where I got the 23 and 2 from previously, so I'm going to go ahead and do it with this problem instead. Okay. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking our A and our C. Why am I labeling them A and C? Because they're placed in the same places. Okay? We're going to be taking A and C and multiplying them. And the product is going to be, in this case, 5 times 2 is going to equal 10. Okay? Now what I'm going to be doing with 10 is I'm going to be finding the factors of it. So, factoring out 10, I know that 1 times 10 equals 10, 2 times 5 equals 10, 3 times anything does not equal 10, 4 doesn't either, and again 5 times 2. And that's pretty much all of our factors for 10. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to see what two factors, when added, give me B. So in this case, 11. Okay? So if I add 1 and 10, does that give me 11? Yes, it does. So these are the two numbers I'm going to be placing in the middle instead of having 11. So I would rewrite this trinomial like this. Okay? After breaking down my trinomial like this, again, I'm going to group these two and these two and find my greatest common factor. Here it's easy, it's going to be 1x. Why? Because only 1 can go into 1, and they both have x's. So 1x times 5x plus 1 is going to be my greatest common factor taken out of this. Now I'm going to do the same thing to this one. In this case, my greatest common factor is 2, because 2 is the biggest number that can go into 2. Okay? So 2 times 5x plus 1. Again, we have 1x and 2 as the greatest common factors. So I'm going to take those, place them into one side of the parentheses to one binomial, and then I'm going to write 5x plus 1 as my other binomial. Okay? Now, from here, we can check our answer to make sure it would give us that. Just going to rewrite it a little higher. So again, to multiply two binomials, my favorite method is FOIL. So that's what I'm going to be using. Start with my first numbers, gives me 5x squared. My outer numbers are 1 and 1x, so 1x. My inner numbers are 2 and 5x, gives me 10x. 2 times 1 is 2. For my last numbers, combining like terms gives me 5x squared plus 11x plus 2. Again, our answers match. So that is correct. Now let's go on into your assignment. For your assignment today, I want you to break down and factor this trinomial, okay? If you have any questions on anything or something seemed confusing, maybe because of the order I did things in, it wasn't too clear, please don't hesitate and ask. I'm here to help. This is going to be your assignment for today. Please include your notes for today as well. I hope to be hearing back from everyone very, very soon, and I hope you'll have a very wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.